Okay, I guess it's time for another funny anecdote of mine. Um, my mother's grandparents were all slaves on a plantation in Kentucky, somewhere in central Kentucky. I don't know really where. I was thinking about this because of the recent Juneteenth holiday that we have here in the United States for the last notification of the end of slavery. So that's why I've been thinking about this. Um, the Civil War was not a linear type of engagement. In other words, the North didn't come and invade the South, and the South didn't go and invade the North. It went in all kinds of weird ways. And it turns out that near the end of the war, when my mother's grandmother was a young teenager, she had been a slave who had worked from the day she was able to stand up and walk in producing profits for the slave owners. She couldn't read or write. She'd never been to school. She worked from the day she was able to walk on her own. But the Union soldiers near the end of the war were approaching central Kentucky from the south. They had first gone through Georgia and Tennessee, and then were moving back north. So the plantation owner, not wanting his valuables to fall into the hands of the Union soldiers, decided to turn all his slaves loose. And he gave each one of them one piece of property of his that was valuable that he didn't want the Union soldiers to get their hands on. So my mother's grandmother, among the four grand of her grandparents, was given a silver spoon from his silverware set. And when I say a silver spoon, I mean the spoon is pure silver. You couldn't eat anything more than soup with it because being pure silver, it's very soft. So she took that spoon and she kept it, and he said to them, "The Ohio River is that way. Take off." And they all fled the plantation. They made it across the Ohio River into Cincinnati. And from there, my mother's family ended up in Chicago after staying in Cincinnati for a good number of years. But that spoon was passed down from my great grandmother to my grandmother, who then passed it down to my mother, who kept it. Well, she still keeps it amongst her properties. She just died 2 years ago. But she would take that spoon out. She kept it in a velvet case. And she would take it out and polish it with silver polish and then just sit and look at it. Because this was the value of her grandmother. And she let me eat some soup with it once. And it's the most perfect spoon you could ever imagine. It felt, once you picked it up, it felt like it was just another extension of your hand. But it was so soft you couldn't eat it. You couldn't dig into a scoop of ice cream with it. It was just for soup, for genteel eating of soup. But my mother kept that spoon until the day she died because it reminded her of the value of her grandmother's life. And, well, that's the anecdote. All right, see you later.